I know that the beautiful Natalie Portman, she thought it was super weird that Kenneth Branagh was taking on Thor, and you'd worked with Kenneth before, and I don't know whether you thought, well, no, this is perfectly fine. I can see where he would make something of this.
I guess because I'd worked with him before as an actor. It was maybe less surprising to me because I knew actually how broad his tastes are. He's a fan of just about every single genre of literature and art and cinema that I've ever known. I think I remember I was doing a Chekhov play with him in London. We were rehearsing, and I had an idea of who I thought Kenneth Branagh was and the sorts of things he got up to at the weekend. I remember coming back from a weekend and on a Monday and saying, "Hi Ken, how are you doing? You know, what did you do at the weekend?" He said, "I went to see Hellboy 2, and it was tremendous." So I knew he was a lover of the blockbuster. So in a way, it was less surprising to me that he was doing this.
Well, the sibling rivalry at the core of your Thor and your character Loki, it's been there always. You know, you think of Cain and Abel, you think of Noel and Liam Gallagher. It's always just part of our drama makeup now. And I don't know whether there was certain inspirations that he sort of spoke to you about, because I know with Chris, you kind of gave him the speech from Henry V to learn to get that notion of where he was coming from. I don't know whether there were certain things that you were given as a sort of pointer of where this guy's coming from.
Actually, there was one thing that was really, I mean, a lot of things we already shared in a way. Like we shared some Shakespearean references, like Edmund and Edgar and King Lear. One of them is the legitimate son, one of them is the bastard son, and they're fighting for their father's love. And one thing he said was to have a look at the film of The Lion in Winter, which is about Henry, I can't remember which king Henry now, but Peter O'Toole plays the king, and his wife is Catherine Hepburn, and they have 3 princely sons. And he said, just have a look at O'Toole, and there's a kind of emotional volatility in his performance, an unpredictability, a degree of delight and damage at the same time. And he said, don't do a Peter O'Toole, but just see if you can find in yourself that degree of unpredictability. And he kind of said, every time when you turn up for work, when we're filming, I'm not interested in any veneer of control that you have as an actor. I want to see you raw, which is a terrific call to arms.
I know that at one point Chris was actually out of the running. His younger brother Liam was going to possibly play Thor alongside Alexander Skarsgård and Josh Hartnett and yourself. And I don't know whether ultimately you kind of feel the flawed character is for an actor, usually the flaws are the more kind of intriguing. I don't know whether you immediately sort of felt I can lock into this, or whether it was hard to readjust your set from going for Thor.
No, definitely. When I was going for Thor because I'm over 6 foot and blonde,
like myself.
Here we go. Yeah. But I think Ken was actually very generous. He took me out for breakfast and said, I'm looking for somebody to play Thor with a physical intensity and an immediate athletic instinct. And somebody with a degree of kind of masculine confidence that can both read as intensely charismatic and at times arrogant.
I should have gone for this role.
And then he said, Loki is this deeply complex, sort of psychologically, ambiguous, complicated, damaged, vulnerable, sensitive, fiercely intelligent. God of mischief, and he said, I think Tom, I think that's what you're better placed in that frame, and it was very kind about what he thought my gifts were as an actor, and as soon as I found out about the part, I thought this actually is this is my wheelhouse. This is kind of the territory that I feel comfortable excavating.
I was going to say Loki spends most of the film in Asgard, and it's sort of Asgard itself is so obviously CGI heavy that it does seem like Metropolis, redesigned by Liberace. It has a certain flair to it, and I don't know whether as an actor playing against that sort of CGI world was kind of a tough task, because you're obviously having to kind of create, and maybe the stage is exactly the same, so it wouldn't be that tough for you, but just knowing that this is going to be a totally different landscape when it actually appears on screen.
Well, what was really amazing was that the all of the visual effects people, before we started, they came with all their sort of laptops and showed us almost kind of sizzle reel trailers of ideas that they were thinking about. So we all had a picture in our minds of what was behind or what was going to be projected onto the green screen, if you see what I mean. But also Ken there were lots of sets actually in Asgard too, and Bo Welch, the production designer, built these extraordinary interiors of bronze and gold and with old Norse runes carved into the floor and onto the pillars. So the idea of inhabiting these gorgeous palaces and a shining city in the sky was actually not so hard in the end.
I was thinking right now, going from, well, of course, like everybody in England, you win Casualty in 2007. 2008, you win the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Newcomer. And since then, it's kind of gone crazy because you think now you've got 2 family dramas out there. You've got Joanna Hogg's family drama, Archipelago. Yeah. You've got this. But then also coming up, you've got Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris. You've done Steven Spielberg's Warhorse. I think you've got others here now. It's a kind of a fantastic run. You've got The Deep Blue Sea for Terence Davies. Yeah. Do you have Polaroids of Steven Spielberg in an odd position or something like that? How does one get so much work so quickly?
I honestly don't know. I really don't. It's a mystery to me. It's a mystery to anyone, I think, who is allowed the privilege of kind of living out their dreams, I think. It's funny that it was only 4 years ago that I did Casualty. I remember doing Casualty because there was a stunt sequence where I got to abseil down a building, and I'd never done that. I thought it would be fun. But I think every job you do, you just have to approach it with as much conviction and passion and truth as you possibly can. And I hope maybe somewhere along the line, word got out that I really cared about this, and I really cared about doing it well. So I maybe that has something to do with it. I think it's just sheer good fortune more than anything.
So there's no Polaroids?
I haven't got any Polaroids, unfortunately.
I was just so looking forward to seeing the Polaroids.
I don't think Steven Spielberg has ever been in an uncompromising position.
True. Only when he made 1941, that was the only time he got close. Rock and roll.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, well done. Looking forward to it.